Good afternoon. As my husband, the Marine, says, Semper Gumby. I'm Jen Ray Wong from NASA's Office of Communications, and we're here at NASA's Johnson Space Center today to provide an exciting update about the future of human spaceflight, the selection of a new class of astronauts. Following the introduction and remarks, the new astronaut candidates will answer some of your questions. Let's get started with our host, Dr. Ellen Ochoa, the director here at Johnson Space Center, who's an astronaut and veteran of 4 space shuttle flights.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Johnson Space Center today, and especially to this building where astronauts have trained for decades to support space missions. We're proud of our role in leading human space exploration for NASA. In particular, we manage complex human spaceflight programs, develop, test, and evaluate human-rated spacecraft and spacesuits, research and maintain human health and performance in space, and as the home of the Astronaut Corps and Mission Control, we select and protect astronauts and plan, train for, and fly human spaceflight missions. Every few years, we select a new group of astronauts, and today is one of those exciting days where we get to introduce a new class. We're honored to be joined at this event by very special guests. Please help me in welcoming the following elected officials. Representing the United States of America, Vice President Mike Pence. Representing the state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott. United States Senator from the state of Texas, Senator Ted Cruz. United States Representative from the Texas 21st Congressional District, Chairman Lamar Smith. United States Representative from the Texas 36th Congressional District, Chairman Brian Babin. NASA's Acting Administrator, Robert Lightfoot. From the state of Texas and the city of Houston, help me welcome Texas State Senator Larry Taylor. Texas State Representative Dennis Paul. Houston City Council Member Dave Martin. And also here today representing the Office of Senator Ted Cruz, Southeast Texas District Director Jessica Hart, the Office of Chairman John Culberson, District Director Mary Schneider, the Office of Representative Pete Olson, District Director Ty Petty, and the Office of Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Legislative Aide Alma Sanchez. As you know, we received over 18,300 applications, more than doubling the greatest number we had ever received for previous astronaut classes. I'd like to thank all of the people who helped us review and evaluate those applications. We had human resources personnel from almost every NASA center who participated in the initial review. We had senior leaders from Kennedy Space Center and Marshall Space Flight Center on the rating and selection panels. And of course, we had great support from our medical professionals, technical experts, and our current astronaut corps. The application period opened about 1.5 years ago, and we've spent the last 15 months in the selection process, reviewing applicants' educational and career history, recommendations, personal interviews, and a thorough medical evaluation, and conducting activities designed to evaluate leadership, followership, situational awareness, prioritization, and decision-making, among other things. You're about to be introduced to 12 outstanding individuals who have been selected from those thousands of applicants. While we want everyone to get to know them as individuals, especially because astronauts are a very visible part of what we do, we also want to emphasize that successful human spaceflight is a team sport, and it requires the passion and dedication not only of all of us at the Johnson Space Center community, but across many NASA centers. So a big part of today is welcoming these astronaut candidates to Team NASA. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Brian B.K. Kelly, who is the Director of Flight Operations here at Johnson and Chair of the Astronaut Selection Board.
All right, it's a great day, people. Good afternoon, America. I know you're all excited to find out who we've selected for the 2017 astronaut candidate class. But before I introduce them, we've got some tips provided by some of their predecessors to let them know a little bit about what's coming ahead for them. So we're going to play a little short video for you right now.
Welcome to the 2017 ASCAN class. We really are looking forward to having you join our team. This is the most, I can guarantee, the most unique environment you will ever work in. We love it.
Wow, through all those interviews, you finally found out, and it's so exciting for us to have you guys as part of the office.
I'm standing here in the middle of Johnson Space Center, where you'll soon be working. We can't wait to welcome you here and get you started on training. You are in for an amazing ride, literally.
I'm sending this from Corpus Christi Naval Air Station, where I'm learning to solo the T-6. This is just one of the many trainings you can look forward to. Welcome on board.
I can't tell you how much I enjoyed getting to know everyone and learn from them. To take all the short courses we took in geology, oceanography, space science, from experts in their fields, some of whom even trained the Apollo astronaut.
When I first came to the astronaut office in 2000, I started meeting the instructors, the flight controllers, the scientists, the engineers, all those that make spaceflight happen. And I remember feeling totally outclassed. And you should too. You got a ton of work ahead of you, and we'll not be making it easy for you.
So my advice to you would be to have fun with the training that you're about to embark on for the next 2 years. Over the next 2 years, it will be tough, so you owe it to yourself to have a little fun.
The class of 2013, the 8 balls, I'm sure are especially happy to see you join, because now you get to take over the duties of the most recent class. Oh, and don't worry about picking a class name, because your colleagues here are more than happy to help you with that.
Class of 2017, my best advice for you is to not talk for your first 3 years. Welcome aboard.
When you walk in this door, you're going to be here to learn and train and fly in space and be crew members, and that's what's the important part.
You're going to be awesome, and you're going to fly in space. And we're very glad to have you. Hayekali.
Enjoy the time you have with this incredible team of people that you'll be working, playing, and training with. Travel safe. We'll see you soon.
We on the space station wanted to send you some special messages, and I want to show you your new office. So come with me. It's a little bit cramped. The desk is kind of small, but the view, oh, the view. Let me show you. First, we'll open the big window so you can see outside. So that's your new view. And your job is to take the wonder and amazement that we get to see every day and share it with the world and ignite their passion to explore too. It just doesn't get any better than that. So congratulations again, class of 2017. Welcome to the club.
Well, as you may be able to see, but maybe not hear, what these folks got to look forward to is going to be tremendous. So what do you say? How about I introduce the newest members of our flight operations team, the 2017 astronaut candidates. So I'm going to start out in alphabetical order. Kaylee Barron. Kaylee, here we go. Kaylee's 29. She's a lieutenant in the United States Navy, hails from Richland, Washington. She's got a bachelor's in systems engineering from the United States Naval Academy, and a master's in nuclear engineering from the University of Cambridge. She is a member of the first class of women commissioned into the submarine warfare community. She's currently the flag aide to the superintendent of the U.S. Naval Academy. Kayla Barron. All right, let's give it up for Zena Cardman. Zena's 29 and hails from Williamsburg, Virginia. She has a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and a master's in marine sciences from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. She has extensive field experience in Antarctic expeditions and aboard research vessels. She's also been involved with NASA analog missions in British Columbia, Idaho, and Hawaii. She's currently working at the National Science Foundation as a graduate research fellow, working on her PhD at Penn State University. Zena Cardman. All right, Raja Chari. Raja. Raja is a 39-year-old lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force from Cedar Falls, Iowa. He has a bachelor's in astronautical engineering and engineering sciences from the U.S. Air Force Academy. He has a master's in aeronautics and astronautics from MIT. He's also a graduate of the U.S. Navy Test Pilot School. Raja is currently the commander of the 461st Flight Test Squadron and director of the F-35 Integrated Test Force at Edwards Air Force Base. Raja. All right, Matt Dominic, come on down, buddy. Matt's 35, a lieutenant commander in the United States Navy. Matt's from Wheat Ridge, Colorado. He has a bachelor's in electrical engineering from the University of San Diego, a master's in systems engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School. He is also a graduate of the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School. He's currently at department head at the Strike Fighter Squadron 115 on the USS Ronald Reagan. Let's hear it for Matt. Next up is Bob Farmer Hines, 42, from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Bob has his bachelor's in aerospace engineering from Boston University and his master's in aerospace engineering from the University of Alabama. Bob's a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Test Pilot School. He served in the U.S. Air Force and Air Force Reserves for over 18 years. And he's currently a NASA research pilot and the best outfit on and off this planet, the Flight Operations Directorate at the Johnson Space Center. All right, next up is Dr. Woody Hoberg. Woody, come on down. Woody is 31, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He has his bachelor's degree in aeronautics and astronautics from MIT. He has his doctorate in electrical engineering and computer science from the University of California, Berkeley. Woody's a private pilot with extensive experience in wilderness search and rescue. He's currently leading a research group as an assistant professor of aeronautics and astronautics at MIT. Woody Hoberg. Next up is Dr. Johnny Kim. Johnny. Johnny's 33-year-old lieutenant in the United States Navy who hails from Los Angeles, California. He has a degree in mathematics from the University of San Diego and a doctorate of medicine from Harvard Medical School. Johnny started out as an enlisted Navy SEAL operator, completing over 100 combat operations. He's been awarded the Silver Star and Bronze Star with Combat V. He's currently with the Navy Medical Corps, pursuing residency in emergency medicine at Massachusetts General Hospital. Johnny Kim. Next up is Rob Coolene. Rob. Rob's 33-year-old guy from Anchorage, Alaska. He has a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from the University of Denver and a master's in materials science from the University of California at San Diego. He also has a doctorate in engineering from the University of California in San Diego. He has experiences as a commercial fisherman in Alaska, as an ice driller in Antarctica, and he currently leads the Launch Chief Engineering Group at SpaceX, our partners in Hawthorne, California. Rob Coolene. Jasmine Mogbelli. Jasmine is a 33-year-old major in the United States Marine Corps. Her hometown is Baldwin, New York. She has a bachelor's in aerospace engineering with information technology from MIT. She has her master's in aerospace engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School. She is also a U.S. Navy Test Pilot School graduate. She currently tests H-1 helicopters and serves as the Quality Assurance and Avionics Officer for Marine Operational Test and Evaluation Squadron 1 in Yuma, Arizona. Jasmine. Next up, we have Laurel O'Hara, 34, from Sugar Land, Texas. Laurel has her bachelor's degree in aeronautics and astronautics from the University of Kansas. She has a master's degree in propulsion and fluid dynamics from Purdue University. She's worked in and participated with our NASA KC-135 reduced gravity student flight operations programs. She's been involved in the NASA Academy at the Goddard Space Flight Center, and she's also been involved as an intern in the intern program at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. She's currently a research engineer at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts. Laurel O'Hara, welcome home. Next up is Dr. Frank Rubio. Frank is a 41-year-old major in the United States Army who hails from Miami, Florida. He has his bachelor's degree in international relations from the United States Military Academy. He has a doctorate of medicine from the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. Frank has more than 1,100 hours of flight time as a Black Hawk pilot in the U.S. Army, including over 600 hours of combat time. Frank currently is serving as a surgeon for the 3rd Battalion of the Army's 10th Special Forces Group from Fort Carson, Colorado. Let's hear it for Frank Rubio. All right, number 12 is Jessica Watkins. Jessica is a 29-year-old from Lafayette, Colorado. She has a bachelor's degree in geology and environmental sciences from Stanford University. She has her doctorate in geology from the University of California at Los Angeles. She worked at NASA Ames Research Center and at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Jessica is currently a postdoc fellow at the California Institute of Technology, collaborating on the Mars Science Laboratory at Curiosity rover. We intend to send her to Mars one day, folks. As Ellen said, our mission in flight operation is to select and protect our astronauts and plan, train, and fly our human spaceflight and aviation missions. So we just got through selecting them. So now I want to present to you the 2017 astronaut candidate class for the great outfit of NASA.
Wow. You are all incredible. We know that sitting here is the beginning of a dream come true, and we want to ensure our candidates that we are just as thrilled to have you become part of our NASA family. So let me introduce you to NASA's acting administrator, Mr. Robert Lightfoot.
Okay, well, good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here today. This is one of the iconic things we get to do as an agency. We get to introduce our new crew, our new astronauts, and congratulations to each of you. I want to welcome all 12 of you into the NASA family. As Ellen said, we are a team here, and you guys are part of this team. And I want to thank your families as well. The families are out here. You guys have supported these guys. You all have supported these folks, and you've seen the accomplishments that they've already demonstrated, and you're going to get to support them even more as we really put them through the paces to get them ready to fly. These new candidates, as you can see, are a vast variety of experiences. We've got military, we've got physicians, we've got pilots, we've got scientists, engineers, women and men. It's an awesome group. You guys represent a great part of this country, and I really appreciate you doing this. I hope you get a chance to read their bios online. It makes me personally feel very inadequate when you read what these folks have done and where they are. And they're going to have some more amazing experiences they get to add to those bios here at NASA. So we're excited about that. You know, when you think about what we do in this agency, kids still look up to the heavens and go, man, I could be an astronaut one day. I could be up there. You guys epitomize that, and I look forward to the ambassador role you get to play. Not just flying, but being that ambassador for us. When you think about where we go, this is a pretty selective group. Ellen said from 18,000 to 12, right? That's a very selective group. So it's a very talented group, and we're amazed at what you've done, and we're actually excited about what you are going to do as we move forward. Like the crews before, you will inspire folks. You will inspire the next generation to come in after you and take it on. What you see today behind me is our future. Not only the crew, but Orion and the hardware that's here. It's an exciting time to be here at NASA. One of these folks behind us could be the one that takes that next iconic giant leap and says the words similar to what Neil Armstrong said when he stepped on the moon, and brings the entire NASA family and this entire world with them. That's what the future is for these folks, and it's very exciting when we think about it. And as we as an agency work toward that goal, right, we're working toward the goal so that we can actually use the International Space Station in a way that allows us to get the research done, get the technologies built, so that these guys can actually move forward. So it's just really exciting. We'll be able to build on the backbone of what we're doing today as we stretch this infrastructure out further and further into space. Again, very exciting to do. As a group, you guys represent the pinnacle of American excellence, in my opinion. You're inspiring to all of us, and again, it's my great honor to welcome you to the NASA family. This entire NASA team is ready to support you and get you ready for the amazing missions that we have planned for you. So best of luck training as we go forward. My sincere congratulations and Godspeed. So it is my great pleasure now to introduce a very special guest with a keen interest in space. He's taken his time out of his busy schedule on his birthday, no doubt, to congratulate and welcome you all for being here. Please give a warm NASA welcome to the Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Mike Pence.
Thank you, Robert. To Governor Abbott, to Senator Cruz, Congressman and Chairman Lamar Smith, Congressman and Chairman Brian Babin, to our great acting administrator, Robert Lightfoot, Director Ellen Ochoa, to distinguished guests, to all the NASA team here at Johnson Space Center. I can't tell you how privileged and honored I feel today to be able to congratulate the newest class of American heroes, the 2017 class of America's astronauts. These are 12 men and women whose personal excellence and whose personal courage will carry our nation to even greater heights of discovery, and who I know will inspire our children and our grandchildren every bit as much as your forebears have done so in this storied American program. and to this newest class of astronauts. It's my honor to bring the sincere congratulations of the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. Your president is proud of you, and so am I. And President Donald Trump is firmly committed to NASA's noble mission, leading America in space. Earlier this year, after the signing of the first NASA Authorization Act in 7 years, the President renewed, in his words, our national commitment to NASA's mission of exploration and discovery. The President actually said that we must have, in his words, the courage to look for answers in places that we've never looked before, and to think in new ways. And he said these new discoveries remind us that here in America, anything is possible if we have the courage and the wisdom to lead. Now, for my part, it really is a joy for this lifelong NASA fan to be standing here at the Johnson Space Center on my birthday, no less. This really is a special place. Think about it. For more than half a century, this center has guided America's astronauts in their exploration of the heavens. You here have managed 211 of America's crewed missions into space. Every single one, from Gemini 4 in 1965 to the International Space Station at this very moment. Here you've navigated the first members of the human family to the moon, brought the crew of Apollo 13 back home safe and sound. And even now you walk America's astronauts through their work as they walk above us in space. You know, I caught space fever as a little boy in a small town in southern Indiana. And some of my most cherished memories of my youth were our family gathered around that black and white television, watching the images of your predecessors expanding the horizons of human knowledge with American leadership and American courage. As a member of Congress, I actually asked to serve on the Science Committee on the NASA subcommittee, Mr. Chairman. I had the privilege, along with my wife Karen and our 3 children, to attend many shuttle launches at the Kennedy Space Center. You know, I have no doubt that my son, who is now a Marine Corps aviator himself, was actually inspired to put on the uniform and to get in the cockpit from that one day that we sat in the grandstands when he was 10 years old at the Kennedy Space Center and watched with awe as America's heroic astronauts hurled into the heavens. I remember I said at the time, and have thought ever since, that to see a launch, especially at night, Cape Canaveral, it's like seeing the Earth giving birth to a piece of the sun and sending it home. The courage of these men and women and all the astronauts who have gone before inspires me to this very day. America's marvel at our astronauts. Only 338 Americans have ever held the title of American astronaut. While their numbers may be few, their accomplishments have been legion. And the tales of our astronauts are a testament to the indomitable spirit of the United States of America. The astronauts of NASA have expanded our horizons and our hopes and inspired not only the American people, but all the world with their extraordinary courage and achievements. The names of their missions adorn the mantle of American greatness: Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, our space shuttles from Atlantis to Enterprise, and more. And the names of our heroic astronauts have been carved into the hearts of every American: John Glenn, Alan Shepard, the rest of the Mercury 7, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Mae Jemison, and Sally Ride, and all the men and women who took our nation to new heights. But it's not just the astronauts. As you 12 know already, and you're going to learn a lot more in the days ahead, we couldn't go anywhere without the dedication of the more than 17,000 men and women of NASA and the extraordinary contractors who send you to the heavens and bring you home. And let me make a promise to all of them and to these courageous, newly minted heroes on this stage. Our administration, this will be true. NASA will have the resources and supports you need to continue to make history, to push the boundaries of human knowledge and advance American leadership to the boundless frontier of space. Under President Donald Trump, America will lead in space once again, and the world will marvel. President Trump, though, recognizes that America needs a coherent and cohesive approach to the last and greatest frontier. That's why I'm especially excited to announce, after more than 2 decades from when it was disbanded, that soon President Trump will relaunch the National Space Council, and it will be my great honor as Vice President of the United States to chair the new National Space Council in Washington, D.C. America needs a National Space Council once again. Twice before in our nation's history, our nation has had a federal body charged with advising the President on national policy and strategy for space. The first Space Council helped marshal America's energies and skills during the infancy of our nation's attempts to reach the stars. It was under the Council's watch that America put the first man in outer space, and put a man on the moon in less than a decade between. Our National Space Council will re-energize the pioneering spirit of America in space, and it will ensure that America never again loses our lead in space exploration, innovation, and technology. As President Trump said in his inaugural address, we will continue to unlock the mysteries of space. But to do so, we must reorient our civilian space program toward deep space exploration and provide the capabilities for America to maintain a constant presence in low Earth orbit and beyond. You know, the American spirit is as limitless as space itself. And by tapping the bottomless well of American innovation through increased collaboration with commercial space industries, we can seize opportunities that will benefit our nation and our people for generations to come. History's been made in these halls, and today we're making history once again. Behind me stand 12 men and women who've already soared to tremendous heights in their careers, the newest class of America's astronauts. You 12 have already distinguished yourselves. As Administrator Lightfoot just mentioned, more than 18,300 people applied to be members of this 12-member class, smashing the previous record of 8,000 applicants, which was set back in 1978. You are the 12 who made it through. You have joined the elites. You are the best of us. You carry on your shoulders the hopes and dreams of the American people. And I would imagine that your families, many who are gathered here, feel an almost inexpressible pride, for you've been chosen to become astronauts. Let's give these families another round of applause. You know, there's an old saying that when you see a box turtle on a fence post, one thing you know for sure: he didn't get there on his own. And I know for every one of you, those that are gathered here and those that are looking on, have been there to lift you up, to hold up your arms, and bring you to this extraordinary moment in your life. You know, it's amazing to think what you all have accomplished, so many millions of Americans have dreamed about. They have, and they'll keep dreaming about it in generations to come. It was a flight of fancy for a little boy in Columbus, Indiana, but for you, that flight became your future. That dream has become your destiny. And in the years to come, you will depart from this blue marble and take your place among the roll of America's legends who have broken past the bonds of earth. Now their legacy falls to you, and you'll follow in their contrails and chart a path into the unknown. As American astronauts, you may yet return our nation to the moon. You may be the first to travel to Mars. You may have experiences that we can only imagine, those of us who walk on terra firma. But as you go forward, be assured, the American people stand with you, and the countless men and women behind the scenes who will carry you into space. We stand with you as well. And make no mistake about it, I know the path you've chosen is hard, but as President John F. Kennedy said, not far from right here, back in 1962, we know you choose to do these things not because they are easy, but rather, in his words, because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that you're willing to accept, unwilling to postpone. And that's a challenge, as President Kennedy said, one which we intend to win. And let me say to these astronauts and all that are gathered here, we will win. Under the leadership of President Donald Trump, the United States will usher in a new era of space exploration that will benefit every facet of our national life. It will strengthen our national security and the safety of the American people. It will strengthen our economy as we unlock new opportunities and new sources of prosperity. It will strengthen education in inspiring a rising generation of Americans to study science, technology, engineering, and math. And more than anything else, as the President believes with deep conviction, it will strengthen the American spirit as once again we reach out our hands to touch the heavens and raise our heads to gaze with wonder at the stars and the heroes that have the courage to explore them. You 12 will be part of our vanguard. You're the heroes. You're the patriots, the trailblazers in the best American tradition. And I know you're humbled to be among that group. To the 12 members of this new class of American astronauts, I say congratulations. You've already captured the respect and admiration of your peers, and when you lift off the launch pad to boldly go, you'll capture the imagination of your nation and the world. And I believe with all of my heart that when you go, you will not go alone. For as the psalmist teaches us, if you rise on the wings of the dawn, if you go up to the heavens, even there his hand will guide you, and his right hand will hold you fast. As you begin this journey, know that you will be carried by grace and by the prayers of the American people. So Godspeed to the class of 2017. May God guide you and bless you. May God bless NASA, and may God bless the United States of America.
Now, we're going to get to know our 12 astronaut candidates a little better with some question and answer. Everyone is always interested in hearing what you were doing when you got the call letting to know that you've been selected. Matthew, Bob, what are your stories?
I got the microphone, so I'll go first. My story is kind of unique. I didn't actually get a call per se, because I work here at the Johnson Space Center as an instructor pilot, and we had been told several weeks ago to be by a phone on May 25th and expect a phone call. And so May 25th, it turned out that I was scheduled to fly with one of the other instructor pilots that day. So that day rolls around, and first thing in the morning, we brief it up, we get dressed, ready to go out to the airplane, and we ready to leave the building, and Ray, the guy I'm flying with, looks at his phone, he says, "Hey, I gotta take this phone call, go head out to the jet, I'll meet you there." All right, that's a little unusual, but okay. So I walk out to the airplane, and about halfway to the airplane, I look up and I see Chris Cassidy, the chief of the astronaut office, strapped into the back of the airplane already. So he's hijacking my jet. So I'm thinking something's up at this point, but I'm not going to be presumptuous, and I'm not going there. So he says, "Hey, Ray can't make it. Hop in. Let's go." So we fly the entire sortie and don't talk about a thing. It was one of those, it was me and Chris and this giant elephant in the cockpit with us that we weren't talking about, right? So he dropped a couple hints here and there, but I was not biting. I'm like, I'm gonna make him tell me. And we don't talk about much of really, and we get back to the pattern. I show him where I live, and we're on landing roll, taxiing back in, and the only hint that he dropped really the whole time was, "Hey, that's a pretty sweet commute you got right now. You sure you want to double it?" So I'm going, all right, something's up, but I'm still not biting. We get back into the chocks, we shut the airplane down, we get out, and BK is there with, along with Ray J and several of the other astronauts, and Ray, the guy I was supposed to fly with, pulls out his iPhone and starts filming, and BK says, "Hey, I got a job offer for you." So it was a pretty phenomenal experience. Thanks everybody for the ruse to put it together. It was pretty amazing. And since that was at 8:30 in the morning, I think I may have been the first guy notified that day. So it was pretty awesome.
My story is also a little bit different. I didn't get to get a phone call because of where I was. As mentioned earlier, I'm a naval aviator flying with Strike Fighter Squadron 115 out of Atsugi, Japan. We spend about half the year there in Japan, and the other half we fly off the USS Ronald Reagan, also based out of Japan. So at that time, I was on the ship. We were on patrol in the Western Pacific, doing what we do best. And the time came. It had been many months since the interview, and the time came that I said, "Hey, you can't call me, I'll call you," which is kind of funny to say for a job option. And so my time window was 1 a.m. in the morning, my time, and about 10 or so Houston time. And I picked up the phone on the ship. I'm in a little room by myself on this big giant hunk of steel with 5,000 of my friends only about 1,000 feet away from me. And tried to call, and it wouldn't go through. As you can imagine, going from a warship all the way back down to Houston might be difficult. And it just so you can imagine how frustrating that'd be, trying to get, your future. Like, where is it a yes or is it a no? And for 10, 15 minutes, not being able to mash the keys over and over and over again. It's a couple keystrokes. And finally, I emailed and said, "Hey, I can't get through," and finally was able to get through. And getting that, "Hey, we'd like to offer you a job," is pretty incredible when you're on that ship, having been at sea for a little while. So that really got to me. It was awesome. I couldn't even get yes out. I had goosebumps on, just couldn't believe it, and then not being able to tell people till today. But I really, like the vice president said, I really feel like a box turtle right now. I know that I'm on that fence post because of family and friends and teachers and mentors growing up throughout my life. I'm definitely that box turtle on that fence post.
We know studying in school is important. Laurel, what activities outside of school helped you get here?
Well, I've always been really curious and love trying new things, learning new skills, and I've just been fortunate that the experiences that I've always gravitated towards are also those that helped me get up here today, things like fixing engines and flying and diving. One of the experiences I'd like to highlight, though, is my first involvement with NASA. So growing up in Houston, I had Johnson Space Center right down the road, and I was able to visit often, and my second grade class even got to grow tomato plants that had flown on the space shuttle, a program that I actually recently just found out is going on today with students flying seeds on the International Space Station. So those early experiences really hooked me and are a big part of what ignited the dream to be an astronaut. And I think a lot of our class shares that curiosity and excitement for exploring the world and going farther than anyone's gone before. So thank you.
Everyone assembled here has a background in science, technology, math, or engineering. Woody, you've been teaching the next generation of aerospace engineers at MIT. What makes a STEM education so important today?
Well, I think, so we're surrounded by technology, and technology enables some really amazing things like human spaceflight, but also a lot of other really cool things. I think if you really want to dig into the nuts and bolts and understand what makes these technologies work and maybe contribute to future innovation, one really good way to do that is to study in a STEM field. I also think for my students at MIT, one of the main reasons that they select majors like science, technology, math, and engineering is that it's a real enabler. So if you want to contribute to the economy, contribute to national security, contribute to innovation, giving a young person an education in one of these fields is one of the most valuable things you can do.
Jasmine, you're our lone United States Marine in this class. There you go. Although there is a good representation in this class's selection from our armed forces. What is it about the training and experience you received in the military that has prepared you for challenging jobs, like being an astronaut?
Wow, I could legitimately go on for hours about the many ways in which the Marine Corps has prepared me for this, but I will spare you. That being said, I can't tell you how many times the Marine Corps has taken me outside of my comfort zone or pushed me to the point of failure and taught me to get back up and keep trying and keep pressing. The flexibility and the attention to detail that we learn in flight training and in test pilot school, as well as what greater organization to teach you about camaraderie, teamwork, and the crew concept, which I'll be sharing with my classmates here. So again, I could go on, but I think the main point is I would not be where I am today, sitting up on this stage, if it weren't for the many opportunities afforded to me by the Marine Corps. And I'm so grateful to all the incredible mentors I've had throughout my career and throughout my life that have helped get me here, to my friends and family who have both supported me and challenged me to make me a better person. And of course, to the Marines I've had the honor and pleasure of serving with and leading. They've taught me so much along the way. So to those people, if you're watching, thank you so much. And I have to say it to my mom who's here today, thank you. And my dad and brother couldn't be here, but they better be watching on TV, so thank you.
This class brings a very diverse spectrum of career experience. Johnny, Kayla, and Rob, what is your career prepared you to be an astronaut?
So it's hard to condense what all the various experiences I've had that have helped prepare me for this, but the two things that stand out for me is that, one, I've always had an incredible set of mentors, leaders, colleagues, friends, family, platoon mates who were always there for me every step of the way when I was down, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. Their care and their compassion was absolutely instrumental for my personal and professional development. And the second thing is that probably the most important experience has been working in small teams with limited data and making decisions off of that. And I had to do this as a special warfare operator in the Navy, where we worked in small teams and we leveraged each other's strengths and weaknesses to complete the mission. And this translated well to the Navy Medical Corps, where I currently serve as a resident in emergency medicine, working in an emergency room with an incredible staff of physicians, nurses, where we work with patients who are very sick with limited data and have to make decisions to help our patients. So, thank you.
I think we all share the common bond of having come from some amazing teams that really challenge us. For me, I'm a submarine warfare officer, so I was lucky enough to be a part of the Navy's team that operates in confined spaces with limited resources in the hostile environment of the ocean. So I think there are definitely a few parallels with what our astronauts are doing on the space station and what we'll need to learn how to do in order to be successful on long-duration deep space exploration missions.
I think for me, it's all about the opportunities that you're given and seize. And personally, I've had some pretty wild experiences working as a commercial fisherman back in Alaska when I grew up. So thank you to my family for that. I got to be a Fulbright fellow in Italy, and being able to work with other cultures is kind of really expands your horizon and the way you can think. And it can expand your ability to work with others. Since then, I've also through some great friends got to go work in Antarctica, and kind of having that tight, condensed environment, if you will, in the middle of nowhere really leads to a good bond and great opportunities. And you kind of learn from each one of these experiences. And then most recently, I've been working at SpaceX, which has been an incredible opportunity. Hopefully one day actually fly on a vehicle that I have components I got to design. So it's been an incredible ride all around. And I think with all of us, though, we've had these great opportunities. We've had a chance to seize them, and we're all here riding on the shoulders of greats that have carried us along the way.
Speaking of Antarctica, Zena, what about your experience in Antarctica do you think is important to your role as an astronaut?
Yeah, well, penguins aside, there are a lot of similarities. Antarctica is a very remote place, and so, for example, you wind up learning to fix things when you can't just go to the store for a new part. There's a similar lack of fresh fruits and vegetables, but Rob mentioned this. Your not only research, but also your life relies on teamwork and really close teamwork with an international group. So you wind up with, everything from engineers to biologists like me, all working for this goal of exploration and science. And then lastly, it requires family members and friends who are willing to support you from afar, and that's been really humbling and a gift for me. My mom sitting in the front row there, I think the first time I went to Antarctica, she said, "Okay, well, at least you're on this planet for now." So thank you for that support. I know we all have a lot of people supporting us from far away.
Thank you. As Zena mentioned, there are several very proud family members joining us in the audience today. Frank, can you tell us a little bit about how your family feels and what it means to have them here with you today?
Sure. So I think like the rest of our families, they're very proud and they're very excited. This is an adventure for them as well as for me, and we're excited to experience together. And we're all very grateful, I think, to NASA for allowing us to share this experience with our families, because having them here, having my 4 kids, my wife, my mom in the audience just makes this moment that much more special. And as already has been said, but it's worth repeating, none of us would be here without their support, their love, and most of all, their sacrifice. It takes a lot of support to do the things that we've all been blessed to be able to do. And so we're eternally grateful for that, and we thank all of you guys for what you've done.
Raja, you've been flying the F-35, America's next generation fighter jet. How do you feel about possibly flying America's next generation spacecraft?
Yeah, so the F-35 Lightning II is an amazing platform. It's already revolutionizing warfare and air dominance, but I think what's even more amazing is the incredible government and industry team that has taken that thing from a PowerPoint idea to something that's nearly full operational capability. And the other unique thing with the F-35 is the international partners that have been involved from the ground up. Vice President Pence alluded to it, and John F. Kennedy, first said, the F-35 has had its challenges, but that's why I love that aircraft. And we do things because they're hard, and then we crush it. We run into problems, we find technologies we've never tested before, and we figure out a way to get it done. And that's exactly what we've done on the F-35. And whether it's the Starliner, the Dragon, the Orion, I really don't care. I'm just so excited to be a part of the high-performing team here at Johnson, NASA, the country that supports us, and really the international community that's going to get us out into the solar system and do the same thing. Find something we can't figure out and then just crush it and move beyond. So I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
You're all now joining our NASA family, but some of you have spent time with us before. Jessica, what have you been up to and what brought you to NASA?
Yes, so I'm super grateful to have had the opportunity to have several experiences at NASA throughout my career. I've been able to work on several different missions, most of which were Mars related, but not all of them, and I enjoy that. But most recently, I've been working as a member of the science team on the Curiosity Mars rover. That has been quite the experience, and a big part of that is working on daily operations of the rover, which involves working with a diverse team of scientists and engineers and fighting about what we want to do with the rover every day. But I've really thoroughly enjoyed that experience and really look forward to, and I'm so excited and honored to be a part of this amazing group as we start to move towards exploring the solar system and hopefully Mars. So thank you.
We'll now take 2 questions from social media. Megan?
All right, Eric on Facebook wants to know, at what age did you know you wanted to become an astronaut? My 11-year-old daughter is 100% sure she wants to be the first female on Mars.
Who's up?
So I knew when I was in 6th grade, I did a book report on Valentina Tereshkova, actually, and we had to dress up like the person, so I dressed up like her in school, and I thought it was a really cool costume, but I actually just recently found the picture of it. It wasn't as impressive as I remembered. But I was always interested in math, science, technology, all those kinds of things, and from that moment, I was like, yeah, I want to be an astronaut. Now, granted, it's changed form over time. I think I've learned a little more about it in the process, but it's made me want it even more. So I think it's important for those people, when I realized that's what I wanted to do, I started looking into how do I do that? And that's what drew me into military aviation, which I'm so incredibly blessed to have done. So start looking into the things you can be doing. And again, science, technology, engineering, math are definitely going to be a part of that if that's something you're interested. But make sure you're doing what you love doing because that's what I did, and that's what inevitably got me here at the end of the day.
Thanks. Randy on Facebook wants to know, as a new astronaut, who and what was your motivation along the way?
Who and what was your motivation along the way?
For me, I had every phase of life, there was always someone pulling you and pushing you, and I don't think any of us would be here if that wasn't the case. I think, as a young child, at least for me, it was my parents. My father came over from India, brought the rest of his family over here, kind of, really reinforced early in my life the importance of school and education being a gift, not a privilege. As I went into grade school and high school, I had, a number of teachers, and as I grew up in Cedar Falls, Iowa, that every point along the way, there was always that expectation that, hey, I think you can do more. And exactly like Jaws said, sometime around the 8th or 9th grade is when I started realizing, hey, I think I want to go do this flight test, the astronaut, the whole idea. And I had just some great mentors that really pushed that along the way. And it was mostly teachers and family, I think, the whole way. And then as I progressed into the military, then it becomes about commanders and peers and other folks that kind of take the time to help you out. And I don't think anyone else would be here without someone who did that at some point, probably lots of points along the way.
Great. And now we'll take a question from Gina Senseri of ABC. No more? Well, we are going to have more chances to talk with our astronaut candidates this afternoon. At 3:30 p.m. Central and 4:30 p.m. Eastern, our new astronaut candidates will be back on NASA TV to answer some more questions from the media gathered here at Johnson Space Center. Stay tuned on NASA TV later today for video from Vice President Pence's visit to Mission Control Center. Thank you for everyone joining us today. It's great to see the excitement everyone has for our new astronaut candidate class and the missions they will conduct in our journey of exploration. You can learn more about the 2017 astronaut candidates and their upcoming training at www.nasa.gov/2017astronauts and by following @NASA_astronauts on Twitter. Now, let's have one more round of applause for NASA's new explorers.